Hello, friends. It's Eric the Mind Control Guy. It's been a long time since I've been down in my library here to make a video. But all this talk with what's going on in the Middle East seems like all the prophecies from the days of old are coming true. Whether you talk about biblically speaking, or what all those so-called nut jobs in the far right have been saying for 30, 35, 45 years, and even longer. All this stuff that they've been saying is coming true. And there's been movies written about it. There's been books written about it. Uh, supposedly fiction. Now I'm kind of wondering, some of these books, was it really fiction, or was it basically people years ago saw what was coming? This book I have in my hand, which I've talked about before, and I read many years ago. I stumbled onto it on Amazon, and I bought it, and I read it. Now, this book was copyright written in 2005. I got it probably around, I want to say, 2009, 2010. Written by Alan D. Wing. There it is. It's called Invasion America. Now, today I was listening to a fellow that goes by the name of the Canadian Prepper. I've listened to him for a while on YouTube. And they're talking about all the sleeper cells that could very well be triggered here within the continental United States and even Canada, around the world. The Islamic sleeper cells, right here, where they've had training bases. And for whatever reason, the powers that be have been told the various law enforcement, leave them alone, don't touch them. You can see, unless they've been taken off YouTube, you can see them on YouTube today. Oh no, we can't touch them. We got to go after those evil white guys, all those evil right wingers. Like when they went after Randy Weaver and his family back in '92. They went after the Branch Davidians back in '93. They went after groups like the Order, the CSA, used just untold law enforcement and military hardware loaned out to them. Oh, you guys are doing paramilitary training. Ooh, we can't have that. The Islamists got training camps right here in the continental United States. Training how to kill, training how to do all kinds of heinous things. Law enforcement can't touch them. Who put out that order? That book I just showed you, Invasion America, written back in 2005 by Alan D. Wing. That book, which is written as a novel, shows what happened when the terror cells, the sleeper cells, were triggered. And the stuff they did right here in the continental United States, some of which we've already seen in recent years gone by. It happens it's unmerciful what these individuals do. And after listening in recent days and this morning, talking about how all these Islamic cells right here in the continental United States that law enforcement has been told hands off could very well end up being triggered And when they start cutting people's heads off, babies' heads off, just butcher and slaughter and just ungodly things, when they are willing to put explosive devices on their own kids, just like what happened in Vietnam and what happened in the recent wars, Afghanistan, Iraq, and all that. If they're willing to do that to their own kids over their so-called religion because their religion allows for it, supposedly, what do you think they're going to do to you? And God help the females, regardless of what your age is, regardless of what tone your skin is, they don't care. If you're not one of them, they're going to get you. If you're not one of them, the horrible things they will do to you, even if you are one of them, they have no problem sacrificing their own. And I have no damn idea. What is it you sons of bitches want? Many of you out there have seen the same pictures I've seen. That for a number of years now, people have put on social media or on the net of one variation or another. When they show at the same time of the year, 50 years ago and even more. Now, 50 years ago is 1973. That doesn't seem like that's so long ago for old guys like me. But in the 70s and the 60s, they showed pictures of young people, late teens, early 20s, 30s, in various places in the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Syria. And they also showed pictures of young people here in this country, United States. Now, I'm not talking about the hippie generation that, some of those that fell into the hippie class was dressed like, wow. No, I'm talking about your young, average conservative people, like a lot of the ways the young conservative people dressed in the southern states, in the northern states, northwest, even out west, midwest, all over. The gals had nice, knee-length skirts, regular shoes. The guys had regular clothes, clean cut. You really couldn't tell. I mean, obviously, over in the Middle East, they had usually a different skin tone because that's just where they're from. But they didn't dress any different than the people here in this country for that time frame. The Muslims took over. You can't tell the difference. And now that the Muslims have been allowed, because of the crooked traitors in charge of these countries all over Europe and Scandinavia, the population doesn't look like it did 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And the Muslims just walk over everybody, and the police have been told hands off. And people say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. So what if it is? Well, that's a conspiracy theory. You damn right it is. And you know what? It's all come true. And now more and more of it's coming true. It's like this shirt I have on. I need some new conspiracy theories because all my old ones came true. Here we are in 2023, October, and we're living it. We're seeing it. We're seeing it happen before our eyes. That book, Invasion America, they're already here. They're just waiting to be triggered on a grand scale. Countless other books, other movies, documentaries, have been written about the downfall of the country, hell, the downfall of the world. The other day, I put up a picture on my Facebook page, and it showed the cover of an album. An album from way, way, way long time ago. I'm not sure exactly which year it was, but it was from a band called Boston. And it showed all these guitars that looked like spaceships, kind of like a modification of the Star Trek Enterprise, that movie from years ago, Star Trek, and all the variations. It was like these spaceships that looked like guitars, and they were fleeing out into space while the planet behind them, planet Earth, was exploding. Now, this video right here that I have, and you can watch this on YouTube today, made in 1977, called Alternative 3. It's done like a documentary, but in actuality, it was a pseudo-documentary, basically a fake documentary. A fake documentary that I'm convinced was inspired by actual events. They can just never say that. And Alternative 3, what is Alternative 3? Get off this planet while there's still time. That's basically what Alternative 3 is. Because the powers that be, the very, very dark powers that be, the ones that you never see, are hell-bent on turning this planet into our solar system's second asteroid belt. Now, when I was on the internet show Dark Outpost for about 5.5 months, and then I just couldn't handle the flashbacks anymore, talking about it all the time, so I faded back into obscurity. But when I was getting my memory back years ago, and for all the trolls out there say, I don't believe it, I don't give a rat's ass. You didn't live what I lived. And when I meet people who are former military intelligence and former special forces that verify things that I remembered, I don't need you trolls' approval. But when I was getting my memory back years ago, and the mind-altering research study, that was just the tip of the iceberg. They put us into, whether they be real and authentic, or whether they be simulation projects. Time travel, where today the military and people like that, they don't use the word psychic because that word has been demonized too much by a bunch of fake ass people out there. They try to get people to believe them. They beg people to believe them and laugh at them because they did. Now they use other words to describe being able to see without being there, seeing into the future, seeing into the past, seeing during our time frame, just not being somewhere, tapping in and seeing. It's called remote viewing. And they did projects involve remote viewing. When I was getting my memory back, I was seeing things as clear as day, just like I'm sitting here in my library and I'm looking at the camera. I had memories, visions that clear that one day this one small little planet that we all share ended up being our solar system's second asteroid belt. The powers that be, where, regardless of who they were, kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger destructive devices. And this planet is so shattered, so fragile. That's why we have earthquakes. some earthquakes worse than others. Some places on this planet, inside this planet, if the wrong thing went in the wrong location, explosive device, earthquake, caused a lot of damage. What I saw was